about today. What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and we are down here. Girl, girl. We are down here, girl, and we don't have nothing to talk about. I don't know. I was like, should we talk about Terrence Howard? Because I kind of posted on Terrence Howard, but I haven't come down here and talked about it with y'all. Terrence Howard was on somebody's podcast, and he was talking about um, how he's never given away his manhood card, and he was explaining how he was also seemingly not necessarily proposition, but he got a feeling from Puffy that he wanted to bed him. And so he was talking about, in Hollywood, how there are some people who they will do things in order to succeed and then have to deal with the thoughts about the things that they did to succeed. And the way that he was framing it was very much so in line with the, you know, any inkling of feminine energy is you're not a man, right? Didn't we just talk about this with a real man, not a gay man? Remember, Heavenly was just talking like that. That's the it's the same programming. It's the exact same programming where any connection to the feminine is looked at as a bad thing, especially if it's coming through and from a male's body. So there is an aversion to the feminine when expressed by men. And so you get your quote man card taken away because the act of receiving sex, a bottom, I guess, is feminine, and therefore you're not a man. So then all he's doing, we understand, is reiterating and reinforcing this patriarchal idea about what a man is and what a woman is, right? And then allowing that system to define you as a man, not realizing there are a lot of constrictions and restrictions that come with upholding and reinforcing the patriarchy. There's another clip after we talk about um, Terrence Howard of a woman actually admitting that even though she knows that the patriarchy is so restrictive on your expression as a man, especially as a deeply melanated man, but she would rather live under those restrictions and confinements instead of allowing you to just live your full expression of your humanity. So basically reinforcing the patriarchy. So you have an example of a man reinforcing the patriarchy, and so many examples of women. The fact that women are expecting that a man be here to protect and provide for them is a scripture in the pillars of patriarchy. If at anywhere in your walk that you believe that you should be able to depend on a man financially, and like that's the main focus of that, like using the resource as the commodity, um and wanting him to quote lead, that those are tentacles of patriarchy. That's all that it is. And it comes off as misogynistic because in his interview, he said that Puffy was looking at him like a woman, how a man would look at a woman in essence, and then also being offended by that. How dare you look at me like a woman? We prey on women. We misuse women. We mistreat women. How dare you look at me like a woman and think that you are about to do whatever you want to me? How dare you? I'm a man. And then oftentimes, unfortunately, the when we say it's like dangerous for men as it is for women, a man will kill somebody in order to exert his quote manhood. We've seen that violence acted out on women. We've seen it acted out on trans women. We've seen it acted out on uh, gay men. We've seen that behavior acted out. And then also, this, how do you say, this, I mean, like, it's just rooted in the hatred or the disdain for women, not seeing the value in women outside of something to be preyed upon, right? And how dare you look at me in the way that we look at women, right? Let's listen to Terrence Howard and see what he has to say. And then I also want you to I also want to hear that other woman, how she reinforces the tentacles of patriarchy. Okay, so let's listen to him.
But he invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. He invited me. With,
Let me see what else. Hold on. I'm trying to find.
I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some over greater desire. You should have a greater desire than being a man. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that. They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men.
Your character has nothing to do with your male identity. Your character has nothing to do with your sexuality, because every single day we see men of extremely low character who would identify themselves as heterosexual. In fact, Terrence Howard has multiple allegations against him with several different women of domestic violence. So as we can see, here is a heterosexual man presenting us with this idea that if you have sex with men, somehow that is a tarnish to your character, when it doesn't have anything to do with the other. It doesn't. And then we have to remember that there, when two consenting adults are having sex, that is not taking away a person's identity as a man or as a woman. It doesn't. And you equating that to that again, just like when Heavenly said, a real man, not no gay man, right? Because at the base of that, we could call it like homophobia, but at the base of that, in a patriarchy, it's always the objective to remove the feminine, to remove the woman. Anything that is feminine and equated to woman or womanhood, we have to get rid of that out of whatever type of mindset you have. And that's why the men are so imbalanced and therefore taking their aggression and beating up women and killing women, heterosexual men killing women every day. So you can't equate somebody's character or integrity to their sexuality or their gender identity. You can't. You can't. And also, if a person is not consenting, that doesn't have anything to do with their sexuality or their gender. If they're not consenting, that is not, you can't tell somebody, oh, you lack character and integrity because somebody argued you. No, it doesn't work like that. Now, I can understand if you are literally selling yourself out and doing things that go against yourself and what you have. The foundation isn't patriarchy. It's not. It's understanding who you are. It's understanding I'm I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this. I'm presented with this opportunity, I'm going to do it or I'm not. Period. And if it goes against your principles, it goes against your principles. But your principles are should not be aligned with, oh, because I'm a man. Your principles should just be aligned because you are a person. Because again, we see there's a man trying to have sex with you and is allegedly having non-consensual sex with people, not women, not only women, not only men, but everybody. It doesn't matter because it's his character. It has nothing to do with his sexuality. Let's finish listening to him.
We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what. Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it? Hell yeah. What was the consequences when you said no? Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for.
Okay, we heard him say that already. So what I said to that is basically your sexuality doesn't define you as a person. It does not define you as a man. It doesn't. It doesn't define what a man, the man's sexuality doesn't define him. That's a part of who he is, but it doesn't define him, nor does it make him less of a man because he is gay. Your heterosexuality is not, and I mean, we could get into it because it's really like the way that you're socialized to move towards a certain thing. And let me just keep going. Um what happens when a person is violated and something is taken from them without their consent, that's actually what's messing them up. You understand what I'm saying? Or the person who is actually going against themselves. There's two things that are happening. A person who goes against themselves and does things that they would not normally do consensually, right? But then also operating in a system that for years there has always been a casting couch. So there for years these men have been abusing their power and taking advantage of people and in exchange for opportunity. It has nothing to do with their sexuality or their gender because they're doing it to everybody. They're doing these things to everybody because it has nothing to do with sexuality or gender. And the reason why they use sex as a weapon, because then they can come out and say it was actually consensual when it wasn't. And because you're in such close proximity to a person when you are having sex, of course, you can say it's literally your word against somebody else's word, because it could possibly have only been at the minimum two people there. And if this man has power and this person has power, they are going to exert their power and take it from you. And what are you going to do? That has nothing to do with Justin Bieber's sexuality at all. The fact that he is going through the turmoil that he looks like he's going through is because he was violated. He was violated. I don't think that Justin Bieber needed to do anything to get ahead when he was dropped off at Puffy's house by Usher. I don't think that he was doing anything to get ahead. It was probably an adult sacrificing a child for whatever it is they wanted. They were being violated. Nothing to do with a person's sexuality or gender. All Terrence Howard is doing is reinforcing pillars of patriarchy. That's all that he's doing. When somebody is having consensual sex with men are having consensual sex with each other, that's not a tarnish to his masculinity. That doesn't make him less masculine. It doesn't. It doesn't. What would you? What I wonder what he would say if you would say so. If two women together, does that? What does that mean? Does that take away her femininity? Does that take away? How does that work? It doesn't. Do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't work. It does. If you tell somebody they're less of a man because they have sex with a man, it doesn't even make sense. Is a woman less of a woman because she's having sex with another woman? No, he probably, because in his mind he can benefit off of that, can't benefit off of this. So he would probably more than likely be okay with that. Um, I left this comment. Hold on. I left this comment. I left this comment. I said it's important to recognize that being heterosexual doesn't define what it means to be a man, and being gay doesn't take away from anyone's manhood. What truly harms a person is their sense of self, regardless of their gender, and when that their consent and humanity is violated. That's what harms a person, when they have something has been done to them that they didn't consent to, or they actually truly consensually go against themselves, but also remembering that they are in a system where these types of things are happening. And so some people believe that they have to do that in order to do that. And that's not true. But what's happening is that these men in these powerful positions are, and women are using sex as a hurdle. That's what I'm doing. Or the demented way that he does it with the GHB and everything and people and the freak offs and all that other stuff. Consensual sex between men do not diminish their identity or masculinity. Gay men are just as whole and valid in their manhood as heterosexual men. I said it's harmful and it's misleading to associate someone's sexuality with a loss of manhood. It is, because the conversation doesn't happen like if you're saying, "Oh my god, this a loss of womanhood if two women are having sex with each other." Is that a loss of womanhood? I bet you they would have a different answer. I bet you they would have a different answer. I want to read some of the comments. And the sweet girl. Let me read some of the comments. She invited me. Cat Williams and 50 Cent said the exact same thing. I just wonder who and how many industry dudes rocked with Diddy. Don't let the pretty eyes fool you, Diddy. Terrence is a real one. Just by looking at Diddy, you can see something is really wrong with him. If I think you all should Google Terrence Howard before you think he's just looking for recognition or attention. He's no dummy. He holds several patents and is quite smart, but he also likes to fight women. He also likes to fight women. Just as early as 2022, Terrence Howard had allegations that a woman accused him of DV. She claims emotional distress and assault. In 2015, at an airport with his second wife, he was accused of assaulting his first wife at an airport. She claimed he punched her in the face. The case was settled privately. In 2011, this heterosexual man with his man card still intact had a restraining order in 2011. His first wife filed a restraining order claiming that he had been violent during their marriage. She also sued him for $5 million in damages, and that was settled out of court in 2013. This was his second arrest in December of 2008, where his wife accused him of hitting her in the face during an argument. He was arrested but claimed it was self-defense. The charges were dismissed due to insufficient evidence. And then he was also arrested in 2001 for assaulting his wife. While on a trip in Costa Rica, uh, Gant accused Howard of assaulting her during an argument. She alleged that he punched her and grabbed her by the neck and strangled her. Howard claimed that Gant had maced him and his family members. Subsequently, she obtained a restraining order against him. So with his man card fully intact, right? So as long as you're not having sex with men, your man card is fully intact. Meanwhile, he likes to punch bitches and strangle bitches, and that's what he likes to do.
Tired ass, po ass, raggedy ass, slow ass niggas.
So he does not have a respect for anything feminine, anything. What men do that can be classified as quote feminine from his perspective, to all the way down to an actual female human being who identifies as a woman. So again, we're back to, in a patriarchy, remove the feminine. We don't like it. And women reinforce that. I want you to listen to this. Woman, say it. Hold on. And I'll read you my comments for this. Here.
Why not? Do you think that it's possible for men to be attracted to men and women? I think bisexual men are cool. Nah. Why not? Like, I know I'm super biased with this because obviously, but I just feel like they're gay or straight, especially black men. And this is so bad because I know you have to go through so much, and you're just so limited in what you're allowed to do in your mindset and what the world thinks it's acceptable for you. But that's the world that I want to live in. I told you women are the most homophobic. We are. It's not the men, it's the women, because we are the one that makes y'all feel that way. I feel like black.
And she always has it, but then she just loses me at the end. it's not the women making you feel that way, and that's the way they get off with being able to blame you. This is a system of patriarchy powered by men. They are setting the rules. The way that you govern yourself, even the way on down to what you think is feminine, is designed by them. You understand? The mere fact that men started out wearing heels, and you see men every single day teaching women how to walk in heels, again, your layout, your costume for femininity is designed and curated by men. So it's not the women who make you feel that way, it's the women reinforcing your rules. So that's why in a patriarchy, when all else fails, blame a woman. We blame her for everything, everything, even on down to the way men express themselves that you deem feminine, right? Having sex with men, you deem it as feminine, and therefore you have a issue with that. Because in a patriarchy, you are supposed to be like to the feminine. Get it away. No. And women all the way down, anything that's expressed in that way. So it's not the women who make them do it, it's the women reinforcing the rules set forth by them and curated and designed by them. Okay.
Man, y'all are at the top of the mountain. So when I see perfection, I'm like, I can't see you bent over. Is it
I can't see you bent over, because she sees the act of receiving sex as a woman doing that. And so in her mind, I even as a woman, she sees it as a something less than. And that makes a man less than if he is expressing himself what you believe to be something a woman should be doing.
Masculinity? It's not even masculine. Like, I just think black men are the best. But why can't they be the best for each other too? I think less of white men. I don't care what you do. So you like,
I care less about white men. I don't care what you do. Meanwhile, let me let you listen to the whole thing, and then I'll read my comment. Let's just listen to the whole thing.
Do you think that it's possible for men to be attracted to men and women? I think bisexual men are cool. Nah. Why not? Like, I know I'm super biased with this because obviously, but I just feel like either gay or straight, especially black men. And this is so bad because I know you have to go through so much. And you're just so limited in what you're allowed to do in your mindset and what the world thinks it's acceptable for you. But that's the world that I want to live in. I told you women are the most homophobic. We are. It's not the men, it's the women, because we are the one that makes y'all feel that way. I feel like black men, y'all are at the top of the mountain. So when I see perfection, I'm like, I can't see you bent over. Is it masculinity? It's not even masculine. Like, I just think black men are the best. But why can't they be the best for each other too? I think less of white men. I don't care what you do. So you like to live in your delusional bubble? I do. Let me reside there. Hey guys.
Isn't that sad? I said pick-me's are dangerous. They uphold and reinforce harmful ideas about sexuality. Straight, and I use the word straight as a I use it loosely, girl. Straight black men are probably the most sexually repressed group because of their community's close relationship with homophobia and misogyny. She hates women, centers men, and loathes femininity expressed in men. She admits that she wants to live in a world where you are repressed because she hates seeing femininity expressed in black men. And she would rather live in an illusion that is constructed by the white male heterosexual Christian matrix. It's the women who need deprogramming. Another woman says, we are making you feel like that. Women are only reinforcing a patriarchal rule that was set forth by the white male heterosexual Christian ideas. I use hetero loosely because while they uphold it in public, we know straight men are having sex with men. Ironically, the pick me says she doesn't care what white men do, but she wants to reinforce their structures onto black men and reinforce those ideas and wants you to live by those ideas. And those same ideas harm her. The same ideas harm her. And she doesn't even realize in her mind, already she says she sees black men as perfection. So you already know what is going on with her brain. You already know what is going on with her brain. Not only that, you literally said, I don't care about what white men do, but you are over here reinforcing their rules to them. And those same rules harm you. And those same rules harm them. They don't benefit the way it looks like they benefit. So they think a benefit, like a lot of men associate their benefit in a patriarchy with being able to have free labor and DNA duplication, right? I get somebody, a partner who will do these things for me, who would be a maid, a mule, a mattress, a medic, a meteorologist, a maitre d', a mechanic, right? A manager, right? A medic. Girl, you're doing everything, right? And they figure that's effective patriarchy, right? And then you have women who will shake their finger at men and tell them you are not living up to the rules because you're not protecting and providing, but then at the same time will turn around and take care of men. Uh, in every situation, you are not coming out on top of it, whether the man is providing for you, because then if he has a certain mindset, that is going to be held over you, where you actually believe that you want to depend, become somebody's dependent. That's not happening. You better always have your own money. Always have your own money. But then on the other end, you have women who are desperate enough, and they're in their, desperation bag. They are taking care of these men. While we call them homosexuals or whatever, it's effective patriarchy. I have a woman that is providing me labor, whether she's providing her home, whether what she's providing something to me, and I'm not paying for it in any way. I'm getting it because I'm a man, baby. So both scenarios are not, doesn't serve women, and there's a illusion that it actually serves you, and it actually doesn't in the long run, and it's unsustainable. So this idea that because men have sex with men that they're less of a man, that's out of here. Throw that out. That doesn't, it doesn't work like that. And then that's why, like, we always hear, and I've seen it with my own eyes, where, because, like, I don't understand, and I honestly don't understand that as soon as you know that a person is gay, you assume that they don't have strength. Like when you assume a man is gay, you assume that they don't have the strength of a man. So it's even so deeply rooted that you even associate femininity with weakness. There's that part of it, right? With, you're looking at me like a woman. What did Terrence Howard say? You're looking at me like a woman. We prey on women, basically. You're looking at me like I'm prey. That's not, as a man, I'm not, I don't look at other men as prey. I look at women as prey. So you're less of a man because you looking at me like a woman. We don't, that's how we look at women. You understand what I'm saying? So the women are reinforcing the rules. The men are trying to reinforce the idea that their masculinity is attached to their manhood. They don't have any access to their femininity, which makes them violent aggressors toward the feminine, because there's not a respect there for the feminine. We saw Gregory doing that on Married to Medicine. There's no respect. You can tell a misogynist. You don't like women, but you will definitely partner with women because you will use them as a resource. Definitely. We see it all the time. Just because a lot of, well, it is what it is. Okay. Let's see. Okay, what else are we talking about? Is that it for the day? Do 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 do. Okay. Let me see what I saved. I saved some things. So yeah, I think we're clear, right? You're not less of a man because you have sex with men, and you're not less of a woman because you have sex with women. That's not even a thing, right? It's not even an idea. Okay, let's see what's going on. Girl, I saw Ashley singing Work It Out by Beyonce. You want to hear this? I said on Twitter this morning, she sounds like cats falling down concrete buildings, just falling down a concrete building. Cats. Listen. I said, this is what colorism looks like, the sheer audaciousness when you are in fact mediocre and you're given an opportunity to showcase your mediocrity and your delusion. Ashley cannot sing, and I don't know why anyone is even offering her a space to showcase that she can't sing. And then the fact that the background singers probably sing better than her, I would be fucking pissed off if I was singing background for Stewie fucking Darby. Girl, no ma'am. And you cannot, like, she literally sounds like a sheep being slaughtered. It's terrible. Listen, I'll let you listen to it again. And the confidence that she has behind it, and then the nerve to turn around and tell Candace that she's the least accomplished and all this other shit. Like, that's what happens when you are in a world where, again, white male heterosexual Christian, that whiteness, that proximity to whiteness gives people an opportunity that they should definitely not have. And they always talking about DEI and all that shit. No, motherfuckers, we talking about y'all giving people opportunities that literally are undeserving of the opportunity, but you put them in place to get an opportunity where you could really have a real for real legit lounge singer in there. Girl, Ashley sounds terrible. And that's what happens. That participation trophy bullshit. Girl, no. You sound horrible. No way. No, 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 no. That would be like me going down to the y'all know I can't sing, damn it. You think I would be down? That's literally like me going down to the lounge talking about Work It Out. Let me sing. Let me sing Roberta Flack. Girl, and that's what happens. It's delusion that you believe that you are actually great when you are mediocre. That's one of the reasons why I will not watch Real Housewives of Potomac, because the way that, especially like while we talking about Kenya being held accountable for everything she does, and then like you literally have a woman on the show that accused a cast member's husband of like misconduct, and she's still sitting over there, and for what? And then be able to sit in the front and do nothing and provide nothing and give nothing this whole time. Y'all still don't know who she is. Y'all barely found out she has a sister, like, and a sibling. But they're able to get by and be given opportunities, and absolutely are not what someone like Candace is, or Wendy. Like the audacity of Karen to sit there, that drunk, in a drunken stupor, and to say that she's not impressed with Wendy Osefo. Girl, please. That audaciousness that is packaged in women that look like Ashley, Giselle, Karen, that look like that. And meanwhile, the girls who don't look like that are held accountable, held responsible, given opportunity, getting fired, getting suspended, having to come out with statements and apologies and stuff like that. Has Giselle had to come forward and apologize for what she said about Chris Bassett? Has she apologized publicly? If you accuse a man of, oh, he came in my bedroom, girl, what wasn't she, and kept changing it and kept changing it. Like, and literally he lost money because I would have fucking sued that bitch. I lost some money because of the shit you said about me. But she hasn't skipped a beat, hasn't missed a reunion. Nothing. Nothing. Given and that is the reason why I can't do Potomac, because it's an embodiment of that. These There's women who actually work hard and accomplish, who look like Wendy, who look like Candace, who look like Kenya, and the women who look like Robin, who look like Ashley, who look like Karen, who look like Giselle. There's no consequence for their disgusting behavior. Far more disgusting. That's why I don't understand how people can be so moral when it comes to what Kenya did. While you usher in a bitch that accused somebody of premeditated rape and drugging. Come on. And nothing happens to these people. And yet, and still, everybody, every time Candace is down there apologizing, always apologizing. Karen, you had the nerve, and then Karen had the nerve to say about Wendy, she doesn't fit the look of the group. Bitch, does a drunk bitch running up trees look like fit the look of the group in Potomac? Girl, don't get me started. That just pissed me off thinking about that. It's just this thing where Ashley is like literally sitting on stage thinking she's doing something. That's a To me, I'm offended by this type of shit. Because this is to me just is an example of that. And then when I see just you just all this confidence, and it's crazy. It's like, girl, what? You're not a good singer. Stop it. Do something else. But I don't know. Let me read some of the comments. Beyonce send a cease and desist expeditiously. How do you pick a song to sound horrible on but don't know the words? Ashley, go to bed. Let her have fun. Ashley may get on our last nerves, but the girl really does seem like a ball of fun outside of the housewives. People need to unpack their bias and traumas. Girl, fuck Ashley. That football head bitch. Absolutely the fuck not. She has the confidence of a rich white man or a rich white woman. The confidence of her husband going around sticking his fingers up people's asses on the cast and crew, and nobody gets suspended. Nobody. Nobody gets suspended. Ashley would have had to leave the show. Your husband is around here assaulting people, and she's invited back every fucking year, talking about we're better than ever. Girl, get out of my face. Let me move on from this, girl. Let me move on. Oh, speaking of masculinity, let's listen to this. This is a trans person speaking. Hold on, let me make sure. Yes, this is a trans person speaking. So here we are. Listen. Oh, that's a dude. Oh my God, is that a man? Masculinity is a prison from which you will never escape, even though the key is and always has been in your hands. All right? You don't hate me because I'm different. You hate me because I stepped outside and I left you in your cage to rot. You will never know a life unburdened by what your father thinks about you. Okay? And just because you don't have enough room to stretch your legs doesn't mean that I can't go outside and dance. Or something like that. Oh, that's a dude. Oh my God. That's real talk. And those are the confinements and restrictions that I was talking about, and that Terrence Howard is trying to box people in, right? And how Heavenly trying these people who reinforce these ideas, they're trying to put you in a box on how you should express yourself. And anything outside of that, they hate it, especially if it looks feminine. They hate it. And that's just how it goes. And then that woman talking about, I know you guys have to deal with so much, I know you can't really express yourself, but I want to live in that illusion. What? So you want the man to be repressive and confined, but then wonder why their acts of aggression towards you can be fatal? It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's like you don't realize that it just as much as it hurts them, it hurts you worser. So all Terrence Howard was doing was signaling, I've never sucked a dick. I never took a dick. That's all he's signaling. But so many people used to think that you wore bunny slippers. So I don't know. Maybe it's your light skinned and green, pretty eyes. right? Because they do equate that light skin with whiteness and whiteness with fragility. And so then on the opposite end, where they praise the women for being light because it's close to white, they demean the men for being light because whiteness on a woman is feminine and therefore weaker and more fragile. See how it works? See how it harms everybody? Anyways, I got to go. Take care of each other, protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.